The Christmas Devil. You think Christmas is safe, warm, bright, but some darkness comes with the season. Some evil wears a smile and jingles its bells. This year, the Christmas Devil walks among us. The night the snow fell red. Snow fell silently over Frostvale, covering the town in a blanket of cold white. Streetlights flickered weakly, their glow barely piercing the night. The wind whispered through the pines, carrying with it a scent of ice and something older, darker. No one noticed at first. Snowstorms were nothing new here. They came every year, draping the town in perfect, serene whiteness. But tonight felt different. There was a tension in the air, a hum of unease that made the hairs on the back of the neck rise. Little Clara Harper pressed her face against the frosted window pane of her bedroom. She was staring at the quiet street, waiting for her father to return from the Christmas market. Outside, the snow shimmered, but she thought she saw movement. Shadows flitted between the trees lining the lane. Tiny footprints appeared in the fresh snow, stopping suddenly, as if someone or something had vanished. Clara blinked. Shivering, she pulled her blanket tight. "Just the wind," she whispered to herself. But the jingling came again. Soft at first, barely audible, but unmistakable. Bells, tiny, metallic, and mocking. She froze. The sound was not festive. It was deliberate. Every ring echoing through the empty night. Closer, closer. Meanwhile, at the edge of town, old Mr. Wickersham, Frostvale's historian and keeper of forgotten stories, sat hunched over his fireplace. The flames danced, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. He muttered to himself, flipping through a leather-bound journal. The pages were brittle, the ink faded, but the words were clear. Every 25 years, the Christmas Devil walks among us. He punishes those who harbor fear, those who hide sin. He comes when the snow falls silent, and the bells of innocence turn to cries of terror. A shiver ran down his spine. The wind rattled the window panes, as though the house itself was warning him. Mr. Wickersham closed the journal, muttering, "Not again. Not after all this time." Back on Maple Street, Clara's father hadn't returned. She peeked outside again, and this time, she saw it. Just for a heartbeat, a figure. Tall, unnaturally thin, draped in shadows, moving with a crooked, jerking gait. Its face was hidden beneath a hood, but the jingling of its bells grew louder, more insistent. Clara's heart pounded. She wanted to scream, to call for her mother, but the sound of her own voice seemed swallowed by the night. The figure paused near the snow-covered gate, then vanished. The footprints it left behind were human at first glance, until they twisted in impossible angles, ending in a sudden gap, as if the snow itself refused to hold its weight.
Somewhere in the town square, a dog barked sharply and then fell silent. Clara's ears caught the faint sound of laughter. Children laughing, but distorted, high-pitched, unnatural. She shivered violently. She didn't recognize the sound. It was not coming from her street. It was coming from the snow, from the night itself. The town of Frostvale had been quiet for decades. Generations grew up thinking the old stories of the Christmas devil were just that, stories. Myths parents told to keep children obedient during long winters. But tonight, the stories were alive. Tonight, the myth had teeth. Across town, the local church bell tolled midnight. Its sound, usually comforting, seemed hollow and broken in the snowy air. Something in Clara's chest tightened, a premonition she could not explain. The shadows under the pines stretched longer, sharper, writhing as if alive. Clara heard a faint whisper, "Come, come closer." She turned quickly, but nothing was there. The jingling grew louder again, and she realized with a sick twist in her stomach, it was coming from inside the house now. Not the wind, not the street, inside. She bolted from the window. Down the stairs she ran, heart hammering, every step echoing through the empty hall. Her parents were nowhere in sight. The fire crackled as though mocking her fear. The jingling stopped abruptly. Silence. Then a single metallic tap, tap, tap at the front door. Clara froze. The doorknob rattled gently. She wanted to run to the phone, call someone, anyone, but it was dead. Lines were down from the storm. The world outside, the town she knew, was cut off, alone with the snow, the dark, the wind, and something else, something waiting. From the corner of her eye, a shadow slipped along the wall, impossibly fast, moving against the light. She could feel it before she saw it, malicious, patient, hungry. Mr. Wickersham down the street shook his head as if remembering a nightmare he'd tried to forget. He muttered again, "It always starts with a child." Outside, the wind carried a faint melody. Jingle bells, soft at first, then louder, like a chorus of tiny iron hammers. Clara's breath came in gasps. The snow glistened red in the moonlight, though no one had spilled blood yet. She didn't know it, but tonight Frostvale would remember fear again. The Christmas devil had returned, and it would not leave until it claimed what it came for. The legend reawakens. The morning after the storm, Frostvale looked peaceful. White snow blanketed every rooftop, every street, every tree. On the surface, it was the picture of a perfect Christmas town. But the town knew better. A sense of dread hung in the air like frozen fog. Mothers whispered to their children, fathers checked doors twice, and even the old veterans of Frostvale felt a chill crawl down their spines. In the center of town, the town hall was crowded. Faces drawn tight, eyes wide, voices hushed. Something had awakened, something ancient. Detective Rowan arrived fresh from the city, eyes sharp and skeptical. He had been sent to investigate the disappearance of Clara Harper. The girl had vanished during the storm. No footprints outside, no tracks leading away, nothing. Just her small bed, still warm, her toys untouched, and the jingling bells. Witnesses claimed they heard them as she disappeared. "Clara's not the first," Mr. Wickersham said, his voice trembling. The old historian's hands shook as he clutched a cane. Every 25 years, it comes. The Christmas devil. People forget, people doubt, people die until the next cycle begins. Rowan frowned. The Christmas devil? That's folklore, a story to scare children.
The legend reawakens. The morning after the storm, Frostvale looked peaceful. White snow blanketed every rooftop, every street, every tree. On the surface, it was the picture of a perfect Christmas town. But the town knew better. A sense of dread hung in the air like frozen fog. Mothers whispered to their children. Fathers checked doors twice. And even the old veterans of Frostvale felt a chill crawl down their spines. In the center of town, the town hall was crowded, faces drawn tight, eyes wide, voices hushed. Something had awakened, something ancient. Detective Rowan arrived, fresh from the city, eyes sharp and skeptical. He had been sent to investigate the disappearance of Clara Harper. The girl had vanished during the storm. No footprints outside, no tracks leading away, nothing. Just her small bed, still warm, her toys untouched, and the jingling bells. Witnesses claimed they heard them as she disappeared. "Clara's not the first," Mr. Wickersham said, his voice trembling. The old historian's hands shook as he clutched a cane. "Every 25 years, it comes, the Christmas devil. People forget, people doubt, people die until the next cycle begins." Rowan frowned. The Christmas devil? That's folklore, a story to scare children. Rowan's heart thumped. "It's real now," he muttered.
The history of the Christmas devil. Back at the town hall, Wickersham spread out his maps, journals, and photographs. Rowan leaned over them. "The Christmas devil is not a spirit," Wickersham explained. "Not exactly. He is a creature of punishment, born from human fear and sin. He chooses his victims carefully, preys on hidden guilt, whispers temptations, and punishes those who ignore the truth. He is the shadow of Christmas, detective, the darkness that hides beneath the joy and lights." He turned the pages, revealing sketches of the devil. A gaunt figure, hooded, with elongated fingers and bells strung around his body. "Notice the patterns," Wickersham said. "He moves fast, yet the snow always covers his tracks. He toys with his victims. He laughs, and then he takes." Rowan studied the sketches. Even in black and white, the images made his skin crawl. But a detective's mind works on patterns. He noticed the similarities to the recent disappearance, footprints appearing and vanishing, tiny bell sounds, distorted reflections in windows. "Every 25 years, Wickersham added, the devil cycle begins, and every 25 years, Frostvale forgets until it's too late." Signs of terror. The town was slowly succumbing to fear. Shopkeepers locked doors early, children refused to leave homes, and the forest became forbidden. At night, the jingling grew louder. Shadows moved between the trees. Snow appeared red in patches, though no blood was found. Rowan began interviewing families. One child whispered, He comes when the bells ring. He waits for you outside. He knows when you're alone. Another reported seeing a tall shadow with twisted fingers leaning over the snow, grinning under the moonlight. Parents dismissed it as a child's imagination, but Rowan wasn't so sure. His gut told him the devil was back and the legend was real. He knew he had to find a pattern, a weakness, before more children vanished, before Frostvale sank into fear and chaos. A warning in the night. That evening, Rowan walked the streets alone. Snowflakes fell gently, masking the darker truths beneath. The town was silent. Too silent. He paused near the edge of the forest. Something moved in the shadows, fast, silent, deliberate. A faint jingling broke the quiet. Bells, tiny and sinister. He caught a glimpse, a hooded figure, taller than any man, crouching near the trees. Its eyes gleamed under the moonlight. He raised his flashlight. The figure vanished. No tracks, no footprints, nothing but snow, cold and untouched. He swallowed hard. The legends, the journals, the warnings, all of it was true. The Christmas devil had returned, and tonight the town would learn that some myths are more than stories.
The first victim. The snow had stopped falling, but the air remained sharp, biting and unwelcoming. Frostvale woke to a town on edge. The disappearance of Clara Harper the night before had shattered the fragile sense of normalcy. Parents clutched their children close. Shopkeepers bolted doors. Even the local priest whispered prayers for safety no one believed would help. Detective Rowan arrived at the Harper residence just after dawn. The girl's room was untouched, eerily neat. Her bed made, her toys lined perfectly on the shelf, and yet she was gone. No footprints outside, no signs of struggle. Only the faintest sound, a jingling bell that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Rowan frowned. He had seen crime scenes before, murders, kidnappings, even staged disappearances. But this was different. This was unnatural. He stepped outside, scanning the snow-covered yard. Tiny footprints, impossibly small, appeared and ended abruptly near the forest's edge. The snow was red-tinged in one patch, though no blood was found. His pulse quickened. Something moved in the periphery of his vision. A shadow, too tall, too thin, slipping between the pines. The town felt silent, yet alive with watchful eyes. Every branch, every snowdrift, every street corner seemed to hide something sinister. The first encounter. Later that evening, Rowan walked the streets, flashlight cutting through the darkness. He knew he needed answers before panic consumed the town. At the edge of the forest, he found small items, Clara's mitten, a doll with a cracked face, and footprints that defied logic. They twisted unnaturally, turning at impossible angles, then disappeared entirely. And then he heard it. The jingling. Not faint this time, deliberate, mocking. The sound circled him, echoing off the trees, impossibly close and impossibly far at the same time. A shadow leapt between two pines. Rowan froze. The figure was taller than a man, gaunt and wrapped in tattered, dark fabric.
Bells hung from his arms, neck, and legs. Its face remained hidden in the hood, but its presence radiated hunger, malice, and ancient intelligence. It tilted its head, listening. Rowan's breath came in short, sharp gasps. He took a step forward. The figure vanished. The bells jingled once more. The snow beneath him was untouched. Rowan whispered to himself, voice shaking. "This isn't human. This can't be human." Signs of supernatural. Back in town, the panic grew. Parents refused to let children leave homes. Whispers spread. Other children had vanished decades ago under similar circumstances. Each disappearance coincided with storms, snow turning red, and the jingling of invisible bells. Rowan visited Mr. Wickersham hoping for guidance. The old man's house was a fortress of lore. Ancient journals, sketches, dried herbs, and the faint smell of burning pine. "The first victim always appears in the open," Wickersham said gravely. "It's deliberate, a warning. The creature chooses a target to instill fear before moving on. Once it claims the first, the rest are easier to take." Rowan looked over the sketches, noting the impossibly long limbs, the crooked posture, and the way the bells were arranged. So the first one, Clara, it's just the beginning? Wickersham's eyes were sharp, ice cold. "The cycle has begun, and unless you act, there will be more." The terror spreads. That night, Rowan stayed at the Harper house, refusing to leave. The wind rattled the windows, snow piled against the door. Every shadow seemed alive. Around 11:30 p.m., a soft jingling echoed from the backyard. Rowan grabbed his flashlight and stepped outside. The snow shimmered under the moonlight. Tiny footprints appeared, leading toward the woods. Then he saw it. The Christmas devil crouched behind the tallest pine. The tattered hood obscured its face, but its eyes, bright, malevolent, and unhuman, glimmered. The bells jingled in a rhythm that seemed alive. Its fingers were long, skeletal, and curled like hooks. Rowan raised his flashlight. The creature moved faster than thought. In a blur, it vanished into the forest. And then, silence. From the woods, a scream, high-pitched, terrified. Clara. Rowan ran toward the sound. The snow glowed red beneath the trees. Branches scraped against his face. Bells jingled in every direction. But when he arrived, nothing. Clara had vanished again. No tracks, no struggle, only the faintest jingling that slowly faded. The pattern emerged. Rowan returned to town, exhausted and shaken. He had a single realization: the Christmas devil was not random. It was intelligent, deliberate. It observed, hunted, and toyed with its victims. He reviewed the old records with Wickersham. Every past disappearance followed the same signs: snowstorms, red-tinged snow, jingling bells, shadows that moved unnaturally, and the first victim appearing alone before nightfall. "You have to understand the pattern," Wickersham said. "If you don't, more children will vanish. This is not just folklore, it is a predator detective, one that learns, adapts, and punishes." Rowan clenched his fists. He wasn't just chasing a criminal, he was facing a creature beyond human understanding. And the next 24 hours would determine who lived and who vanished in Frostvale.
bells in the dark. Night fell again over Frostvale, heavier this time. The snow, thick and pristine during the day, now glimmered under the weak light of the moon like broken glass. But beauty was a lie. The town had been infiltrated by a darkness that made even familiar streets feel alien, unsafe, alive. Detective Rowan patrolled Maple Street, flashlight in hand, boots crunching in the snow. His breath steamed in the frigid air, but it was not the cold that made him shiver. It was the knowledge that something intelligent, something ancient, was hunting, watching, waiting. The jingling began before he could even think to fear it. Soft at first, almost playful, like a child's music box, but then faster, louder, more deliberate, echoing through the empty streets, ricocheting off frosted walls. Rowan froze. His eyes scanned the shadows. He knew this sound. He had heard it in Clara Harper's backyard the night before. He knew it meant one thing. The Christmas devil was near. Signs of terror. Across town, families huddled in their homes, curtains drawn tight, doors bolted, fires roaring. Children whispered in hushed tones, eyes wide. "The bells," they said. "He's here." Some parents dismissed it as hysteria, the imagination of terrified children. Others knew. Some had heard stories from their parents, from grandparents. Tales of children vanishing, snow turning red, shadows moving against logic. Tales that had faded into myth. Until now. Rowan passed the old square and the shadows seemed to move with him. He heard laughter, distorted, high-pitched, not human. The bells jingled behind him. A sudden gust of wind carried the scent of burning pine and iron. His stomach tightened. He wasn't alone. The first close encounter. He followed the sound toward the edge of the forest, flashlight cutting through the darkness. The bells became louder, closer, each ring a heartbeat, each jingle a whisper of malice. Then he saw it, the Christmas devil. Crouched atop a snow-covered wall, its hooded figure elongated unnaturally. Fingers tipped like claws twitched. Bells hung from its wrists and ankles, moving with subtle, impossible precision. Its face remained hidden, but the presence, malicious, cunning, alive, pressed into Rowan's chest like a physical weight. Rowan raised his flashlight. The devil tilted its head, listening. Then it moved. Faster than thought, faster than instinct, it vanished into the woods. Bells jingled one last time before silence swallowed the night. Rowan ran after the fading sound, branches slapping his face, snow crunching underfoot. The forest seemed endless, twisted, dark. Every shadow might conceal the creature. Every noise could be its approach. And then, nothing. Only the wind, only snow, only the creeping sense that the devil was laughing at him, unseen. Terror takes hold. By midnight, the town was a cage. Lights burned in windows, but they offered no comfort. Children screamed at shadows. Parents tried to soothe, but fear had taken root. Rowan returned to the Harper home, determined to protect what was left. He found Clara's empty room and the tiny footprints once more, this time leading toward the front door and disappearing completely. The jingling started again. He spun around. Nothing, just snow, just darkness. He muttered to himself, "It's not human. It can't be human." But deep down, he feared the truth. The Christmas devil was more than myth. It was a predator, and he had no map, no guide, only instinct and wits against something immortal, cunning, and hungry. The town panics. The mayor called a town meeting. People huddled inside the church, staring at one another with suspicion and dread. Every story resurfaced, the disappearances from decades ago, the red snow, the jingling bells, the children lost in the night. Rowan addressed them, voice firm, controlled. He said, "The stories are true. It's back, and we have to stay alert. No one leaves alone, no one goes into the forest. Do not underestimate it. This creature hunts fear. It thrives on it." Some shook their heads, refusing to accept the horror. Others whispered prayers. Rowan could see the terror in their eyes. He knew it wasn't just superstition. The town was being preyed upon. Signs of the supernatural. Rowan patrolled the forest edge again, searching for evidence. Small toys, trampled snow, footprints that twisted unnaturally. Bells, always the bells. They seemed alive, moving independently, ringing from every direction, echoing unnaturally. Then came the whispers, low, almost inaudible, words that felt familiar, yet wrong. "You cannot hide. You cannot escape. The bells hear everything." Rowan gritted his teeth. He moved cautiously, scanning the tree line. A shadow darted between two trees, elongated, thin, impossibly fast. Bells jingled in a rhythm that suggested intent, intelligence. He realized with a sinking feeling that the creature wasn't just hunting randomly. It was toying with him, drawing him out, studying him, planning its next strike. The night escalates. Hours later, Rowan returned to town. The snow outside the homes was undisturbed, but the air smelled faintly of iron and cold pine. Children slept fitfully, dreaming nightmares their parents couldn't hear. Rowan paused in the town square. The wind carried a single jingle, sharp and deliberate. He turned slowly. Shadows shifted unnaturally in the moonlight. The creature had been there, observing, warning, and disappearing before it could strike. He understood now. The Christmas devil was more than myth. It was real, it was hunting, and the town had only just begun to feel its terror.
Signs of the devil. The night in Festive was colder than it had any right to be. The storm had passed, leaving a brittle silence across the town. Snow crunched under Detective Rowan's boots as he walked the streets, flashlight cutting through the darkness. Every corner, every shadow seemed alive, waiting. The disappearances had become a pattern, clear to anyone who dared to notice. Clara Harper first, then fleeting signs of movement in the periphery of vision, missing toys, and whispered jingles that haunted sleep. The town's fear had taken root like frost in every home, in every heart. Rowan stopped outside the town library. Its windows were dark, the doors locked tight. Inside, the records of Festiv's past called to him. Decades of missing children, townspeople who vanished in winter storms, and cryptic sketches of a hooded, bell-covered figure, patterns that repeated every 25 years. He knew now what Wickersham had meant. The Christmas devil followed a cycle, predictable if one understood it, and the signs,
tiny, subtle, impossible to ignore, were everywhere. The pattern emerges. Rowan spread the old journals across the library table. He traced lines, compared dates, checked snowfall records. Red snow appeared every time, though no blood was recorded. Footprints that appeared and disappeared, bells jingling, shadows lurking where none should exist. He muttered, "The pattern is undeniable. Every 25 years during the winter solstice, children vanish. Red snow, bells, shadows, and the devil is back." Wickersham appeared behind him, leaning heavily on his cane. And yet, people refuse to believe it. They call it myth, fairy tales. Nothing changes until it strikes again. Rowan looked at the old man. Why now? Wickersham's eyes were icy. It has always been waiting, patient, observing, hungry. It chooses the perfect moment, the perfect victim, and it punishes those who do not heed the warnings. Fear feeds it. Disbelief empowers it. That is the rule of the Christmas devil. Rowan's stomach tightened. Every instinct screamed at him that Frostvale was a trap, the town itself a lure. Supernatural signs manifest. That night, Rowan patrolled the streets, stopping at the forest's edge. Bells jingled softly, almost invisibly. Snow crunched under his boots, but not as it should. Tiny footprints appeared, turned sharply, and vanished. He followed them. The wind shifted, the trees groaned, shadows moved, twisting unnaturally. A child's laughter echoed through the pines, but warped, sinister. He spun in circles, nothing. Only the snow, only the forest, only the faint scent of iron and pine. Then he noticed it, markings in the snow, faint, deliberate, not footprints, symbols, patterns, circles, triangles, lines that made no human sense. The Christmas devil had left them. Warnings, clues, challenges. Rowan realized the creature wasn't just hunting, it was playing. It was leaving signs, testing, taunting. The town wasn't just prey, it was part of its game. The devil's motive. Rowan returned to Wickersham's house, seeking answers. The old man spread open an ancient manuscript, sketches of the devil, drawings of snow-covered forests, and cryptic annotations. The Christmas devil does not strike randomly. It punishes the guilty, the fearful, the complacent. It seeks those whose hearts are unready. It is not mindless. It observes, learns, and preys upon weakness. Rowan's frowned, so it targets children because, he said, children are innocent, but not without sin. They are easier to terrify, easier to claim. Their fear is pure, and fear feeds the devil. But adults too can fall if they harbor guilt, secret sins, or disbelief. Rowan's mind raced. He had thought this was a random spree, a creature hunting at night. But now he understood. The Christmas devil was a predator of morality, of psychology, of fear itself. The town reacts. The next day, Frostvale was tense. Shopkeepers boarded windows, children were kept inside, parents whispered prayers, and Detective Rowan worked tirelessly to map patterns, read old journals, and predict the creature's next move. Everywhere he went, signs appeared. Bells jingled faintly inside homes. Snow melted in impossible patterns. Shadows moved at angles that defied logic. Windows seemed to watch him. He knew the devil's game had escalated. It was no longer content to strike in secret. It was taunting the town, asserting dominance. The first victim had vanished. The next was already chosen. Rowan prepared.
He armed himself with knowledge, with pattern recognition, with folklore. He knew fear could not stop it. Logic alone could not stop it. He needed a plan, a strategy, and a resolve strong enough to confront the supernatural. Chilling signs of the devil. That evening, Rowan observed the snow-covered forest from the edge of town. Tiny jingles echoed faintly through the trees, coming from multiple directions. Shadows slithered between the pines. The snow glistened red under the moonlight, red that was not blood, yet a promise of terror. Rowan muttered to himself, "It's intelligent, it's patient, it knows the town better than anyone." A soft whisper carried through the air. "The bells know you. The snow remembers. The forest watches." He felt a cold hand on the back of his neck, though nothing was there. The Christmas devil was close, patient, and hungry.
Trapped in the snow, Frostvale awoke to a storm unlike any before. Snow fell thick and heavy, blanketing the town in silence, cutting off roads and trapping everyone inside. The world outside became a white prison, freezing, oppressive, and isolating. Detective Rowan stood by his window, staring into the thick haze. Every street disappeared beneath mountains of snow. The town had become a labyrinth of white, perfect for hiding shadows. The Christmas devil had the perfect cover, and Rowan knew, instinctively, that the creature thrived in chaos, in isolation, in fear. The jingling returned, soft, deliberate, echoing through the walls, not outside, inside, in the house. Rowan's pulse quickened. The sound was near, too near. The storm traps the town. By noon, the town was fully isolated. Power flickered and then failed. Roads were impassable. Communications dead. Frostvale was a ghost town, though its residents were trapped, terrified, and aware of the lurking evil. Families huddled in their homes, windows covered, fires burning. Children whispered prayers. Rowan patrolled the streets anyway, boots crunching in deep snow, flashlight piercing the storm. Every shadow moved unnaturally. Every gust of wind carried faint jingles, growing louder and more deliberate. He realized with a sinking feeling, the devil had the town exactly where it wanted them. Cut off, helpless, trapped. First attack of the night. Rowan reached the edge of the forest, determined to confront the source. The snow glowed faintly red, reflecting the moonlight. He heard soft jingling, circling him like a predator toying with prey. A shadow leapt from the trees, taller than a man, thin, with claws and tattered black robes. Bells jingled violently with each movement. Rowan fired his flashlight. The creature vanished, footprints twisted in the snow, disappearing entirely. Then came a scream from the Harper house, high-pitched, terrified. Rowan ran through the storm, snow piling around his legs. He reached the door, silent now, but footprints led away into the woods. Too fast, too precise. He knew Clara wasn't coming back, not tonight, not maybe ever. The storm intensified. Rowan trudged deeper into the woods, following footprints, listening for the jingles. The trees bent under the snow, branches scratching at him like fingers. Whispers carried on the wind. "You cannot escape. You cannot hide. We see all." He stopped. The snow ahead was stained red. Small, twisted footprints disappeared into the shadows. Bells jingled all around him, though no one was there. Panic clawed at his chest, but he forced himself to breathe. Calm, focus, logic. Something moved, fast, between two trees. Rowan swung his flashlight. Nothing. Then a branch cracked. Bells jingled close, right behind him. He spun. Shadow, hooded, clawed, unmoving. Its eyes, though hidden, felt alive, watching, hungry. Rowan's breath caught. He knew he was close to the creature, and yet he had no weapon, no plan, only instinct and courage. Survival instinct. He ran. Branches scraped his face. Snow weighed him down. The jingling followed, faster, sharper. He tripped, hit the ground. Pain, cold, fear. The shadow loomed. And then, silence. Rowan crawled to a tree, pressed against it. Bells jingled softly behind him, fading. The snow reflected moonlight. But there was no sign of the creature, only footprints disappearing into nothing. He realized it was testing him, tiring him, breaking him, teaching him fear. The Christmas devil did not just kill, it tormented first. The devil's rules. Rowan recalled Wickersham's warnings. The devil punishes fear, sin, and disbelief. It plays with its victims before striking. Every bell, every shadow, every red stain in the snow was deliberate. It wanted him afraid, exhausted, broken. The storm, the snow, the isolation, it was all part of its design. Rowan clenched his fists. He would not succumb. He would not give in to fear. Not yet. He forced himself to his feet, pressing forward. Every step through the snow was a battle, every sound a threat. But he moved with purpose. He would not be the next victim. The night escalates. Hours passed on. The storm raged on. Bells echoed faintly in the distance, calling, mocking. Rowan traced the footprints deeper into the forest. He saw faint glowing eyes in the trees. Shadows flickered unnaturally. The air smelled of iron and pine, and the snow beneath him sometimes glowed red, an omen he didn't need to understand fully. He knew the creature was near. Patient, cunning, immortal. The Christmas devil was waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And Rowan realized the most terrifying truth. The storm was not a cover. The storm was a trap. Frostvale was not merely a town. It was a hunting ground, and tonight no one would leave unscathed.
Shadows among us. The storm had subsided, but Frostvale remained trapped. Streets were icy, blanketed in thick snow, and the town's fear had deepened into something more primal. Homes were locked, fires burned incessantly, and every parent whispered prayers that the shadows wouldn't come inside. Detective Rowan walked cautiously through the town square, flashlight slicing through the darkness. Snow glistened like glass, hiding the signs the devil left behind. And yet, even in the calm after the storm, the jingling persisted. Soft, insidious, mocking, closer than ever. He stopped, listening. The air itself felt thick, oppressive, almost alive. And then he saw it. A movement in the corner of his vision, fleeting, impossible to track. A shadow, stretching unnaturally, darted between houses. Rowan's pulse quickened. It had crossed the boundaries. The Christmas devil was no longer confined to the forest. The invasion begins. The first reports came in the evening, windows rattling in locked houses, doors slightly ajar when families swore they'd locked them, whispers echoing through empty rooms, soft jingling from corners that held no objects. Rowan visited the Harper home. The air inside was cold, unnatural. Clara's toys were scattered as if by invisible hands. Footsteps in the snow outside didn't match any human stride. And the walls, they seemed to move. Shadows flickered, bending against the lamplight, twisting unnaturally. He realized the horrifying truth. The Christmas devil could manifest closer than anyone dared to imagine. Inside homes, inside hearts, inside minds. Encounter in the night. Rowan patrolled Elm Street, every sense alert. Snow crunched underfoot, but the devil's presence was heavier than any sound. Bells jingled faintly, circling him like a predator testing its prey. From a darkened alley the shadow emerged, taller than a man, limbs twisted, bell-strung arms moving with impossible agility. Its hooded head tilted, listening. Rowan could feel its gaze, cold and intelligent, assessing every move of his. He raised his flashlight. It darted behind a snowdrift. In an instant it reappeared atop the town's fountain, silent, statuesque, watching him. Bells jingled violently, unnaturally loud, vibrating in the frozen air. The town was trapped, and the creature was escalating. Signs of fear. Rowan returned to Wickersham's house. The old man's expression was grim. It's no longer hunting in the forest alone. It has crossed into homes, into hearts. It thrives on fear. It studies, it adapts, it punishes doubt. It preys on weakness. The town would not survive if they succumbed. Every home had become a potential trap. Every shadow a predator. And the next strike would come sooner than anyone expected. Rowan knew he had to prepare. The devil had revealed a frightening truth. It could enter homes, cross thresholds, and manipulate perception. There would be no safe space, not for children, not for adults, not for him.
The hunt intensifies. Frostvale's nightmare had only begun. The town, once silent and quaint, now pulsed with fear. Every street, every house, every alley had become a potential hunting ground. And the Christmas devil was no longer patient. It was relentless. Detective Rowan moved through the empty streets, snow crunching underfoot, flashlight cutting through the dark like a blade. Bells jingled faintly, echoing in every direction, taunting him. He wasn't just tracking a creature. He was being hunted. Families barricaded themselves indoors, eyes wide with terror. Children clutched their parents, whispering prayers into the cold night. But the jingles came closer, the shadows stretched further. The devil's presence was inescapable. Multiple strikes. By midnight, reports flooded in, windows shattered in the Johnson household. Shadows moved through the Parker home. The Thompson family found their furniture overturned, Christmas decorations ripped apart, and the faint sound of bells in every corner. Rowan ran from one home to another, tracking the signs, following the faint jingles. Each attack was precise, deliberate. The creature was no longer toying with the town. It was asserting dominance. He realized something terrifying. The Christmas devil was feeding off the town's collective fear. The more panic spread, the stronger, faster, and bolder it became. A close call. Rowan reached the corner of Maple and Fifth. Snow glistened red beneath the moonlight. Tiny, unnatural footprints led into an alley. Bells jingled violently. He took a step forward and the creature leapt from the shadows. It was taller than any man, thin, with elongated limbs. Its hooded face remained hidden.
But Rowan felt its gaze, cold and intelligent, burning into him. Bells jingled with each movement, creating a chaotic symphony of sound that rattled his mind. Rowan raised his flashlight. The creature lunged. He stumbled backward, barely catching himself. The devil moved impossibly fast, circling him, disappearing and reappearing at impossible angles. The jingling became deafening, as if the air itself was alive. Rowan's pulse raced. He realized he couldn't outfight it. He had to outthink it. Signs of supernatural intelligence. Back at Wickersham's house, Rowan pored over old journals, sketches, and town records. Every past disappearance followed the same pattern: multiple strikes, red snow, jingling bells, and shadows moving where no one should be. "It's not random," Rowan whispered. "It's a strategy. It plans its attacks, it learns." Wickersham nodded grimly. The devil doesn't just hunt bodies. It hunts minds. It preys on fear, chaos, hesitation. That is its power. That is why it's unstoppable. Rowan clenched his fists. He understood now. This wasn't merely a supernatural predator. It was a tactician, a manipulator, a creature that thrived on terror and strategic torment. The town descended into chaos. By the early hours of the morning, Frostvale had become a city of shadows. People abandoned their homes, running blindly through the snow, only to find the streets empty and silent. Every step carried the risk of encountering the Christmas devil. Whispers filled the air, bells jingled from unseen corners, windows rattled, shadows flickered against walls. Parents clutched children, begging them to stay quiet. Rowan moved through it all, trying to maintain control, trying to restore order, trying to survive. But the creature had already won. Fear had consumed the town. Panic spread like wildfire. The devil didn't need to strike everyone. It had already broken them. The hunt revealed. Rowan realized a terrifying truth. The devil had a system. It stalked the town in phases, striking homes where fear was greatest, escalating attacks to maximize terror. It moved silently, invisibly, yet left a clear signature: the jingling of its bells, red-tinged snow, twisted footprints, and shadows that defied logic. He whispered to himself, "If I want to survive, I must think like it. I must anticipate it. I cannot let it control the town. I cannot let it control me." The storm had passed, but the real terror had only just begun. The closest encounter yet. Rowan approached the Thompson house again, the site of a recent attack. Snow crunched underfoot. Bells jingled softly, then louder, creating a rhythm that made his skin crawl. Suddenly, the Christmas devil appeared in the doorway. Its skeletal arms, hooded face, and long bell-baiten limbs were terrifying in the moonlight. It moved with impossible precision, circling him. The jingling crescendoed into a cacophony that rattled his mind. Rowan raised his flashlight, and the creature vanished, reappearing atop the roof. He realized the truth. It wasn't just hunting for victims, it was hunting for fear itself. It studied reactions, it learned. And Rowan knew this night would decide everything.
The blood moon rising. The night sky turned crimson. A blood moon rose above Frostvale, casting a hellish glow over snow-covered streets. Shadows stretched unnaturally, bending against the light. The townspeople felt it immediately, an oppressive weight pressing down on every home, every heart, every mind. Detective Rowan stood atop the town hall steps, scanning the frozen square below. Fires burned in scattered chimneys, but the warmth offered no comfort. He could feel the Christmas devil's presence stronger than ever. The jingling was everywhere, inside homes, outside in the streets, circling him, mocking him. Tonight, the devil would reach its peak.
Its hunger was insatiable, its patience exhausted. The blood moon was its signal. The hunt was about to climax. Terror unleashed. The first scream ripped through Frostvale like a jagged blade. From the Harper house, then the Thompson home, then the Johnson family. The town erupted into chaos. Snow churned under frantic footsteps. Doors were torn from hinges. Windows shattered, and the jingling of bells grew deafening. Rowan ran through the streets, flashlight in hand, calling for survivors. Children cried, adults prayed. Shadows moved against logic. The air smelled of iron and cold pine. Every corner seemed alive. The Christmas devil struck with precision, attacking multiple houses simultaneously. It was no longer a stealthy predator. It was a terror incarnate, a force of chaos and fear, and nothing could stand in its way. The first direct confrontation. Rowan reached the Parker household, snow trampled, red stained. He burst inside, flashlight blazing. Shadows flickered across walls, moving unnaturally. The devil appeared in the corner, its hooded face unreadable, bell-laden arms twitching with impossible agility. Rowan froze, heart pounding. The creature circled him, each step deliberate. Bells jingled violently, echoing in the confined space. He realized it was studying him, learning him, testing his reactions, hunting the fear inside him. He gritted his teeth. This wasn't just survival, this was war. Signs of supernatural power. Rowan recalled Wickersham's warnings. The devil manipulates perception, moves faster than any human, and strikes where fear is strongest. He watched as the creature vanished, reappearing atop furniture, then behind doorways, then above him. It wasn't bound by physical laws. Its shadow stretched and twisted impossibly. Its jingling resonated with psychic precision, rattling bones, shaking the mind. The blood moon illuminated its form, revealing its elongated, clawed limbs, hooded head, and the ominous rhythm of the bells that marked its approach. He knew he faced not just a predator, but a supernatural intelligence that thrived on chaos and fear. The town descends into nightmare. Frostvale's streets were no longer recognizable. Fires burned unchecked, snow mixed with red stains, and the townspeople fled in terror. Whispers filled the air. It sees you, it hears you, it knows your fear. Rowan ran from house to house, guiding families into the town hall, the largest building that could offer temporary refuge. Shadows stretched along walls, bells jingled from unseen corners. Every doorway was a threat, every shadow a potential strike. He realized a terrifying truth. Frostvale itself had become a hunting ground, and the devil had mastered the terrain. Survival required courage, speed, and cunning, but even then, escape seemed impossible. The devil's psychological terror. Inside the town hall, Rowan tried to calm survivors. Parents clutched children, eyes darted toward every shadow. The devil didn't need to strike physically to kill. It preyed on the mind. Panic spread faster than snow, fear louder than the storm. Rowan spoke, voice firm, cutting through hysteria.
You survive by staying together, by keeping calm, by denying it your fear. That's the key. You have a choice. Do not give it what it wants. But even as he spoke, bells jingled near the back of the hall. Shadows moved against walls. The creature was already inside, unseen, testing them, learning them, preparing for the final strike. The blood moon's power. The crimson moon above seemed alive, amplifying the creature's presence. Its glow reflected in windows, snow, and eyes, painting the town in a permanent sense of dread. Rowan understood. This night, under this blood moon, the Christmas devil reached the peak of its power. It wasn't just hunting bodies, it was hunting souls, fear, and submission.
Confronting the Christmas devil. The blood moon hung low over Frostvale, casting long, sinister shadows across the snow-covered streets. Detective Rowan tightened his coat, gritting his teeth against the wind that carried the faint jingling of bells. Every nerve screamed that the Christmas devil was near. Every shadow whispered danger. Every breath felt heavy, saturated with fear. He stepped into the town square, flashlight in hand. The town was silent, eerily so. Fires flickered in distant homes, shadows danced across walls, and the snow glistened red under the moonlight. The streets were empty, yet the jingling echoed from every corner. The devil was everywhere and nowhere. Rowan took a deep breath. Tonight it ends. He had tracked its movements, mapped its patterns, understood its methods. The creature thrived on fear, chaos, and hesitation. He would deny it all three. The final stalking. From the corner of his vision, a shadow twisted unnaturally. Bells jingled violently, closer now. Rowan spun, scanning the square, but saw nothing until it appeared. Perched atop the fountain, hooded, limbs elongated, claws scraping the stone. It studied him, intelligent, patient, calculating. The jingles echoed in rhythm with the blood moon. Rowan realized it wasn't merely hunting anymore. It was challenging him, testing him, taunting him. "You don't need their permission," Rowan whispered to himself. "You have a choice. You have discipline. You will not give it fear." The devil shifted. The bells clanged louder, shaking the very air. Its shadow stretched across the square like a living nightmare. Rowan stepped forward, flashlight cutting through the darkness. Tactical strategy against supernatural horror. He remembered Wickersham's advice. The Christmas devil hunts the mind first, then the body. It is intelligent, learns quickly, strikes where fear is strongest. Rowan had to outthink it, anticipate it, deny it terror. He set small traps, overturned carts, mirrors reflecting light, loud bells of his own to distract, confuse, and draw the creature. Every step was deliberate, measured, disciplined. Every decision could mean life or death. It lunged from the shadows. Rowan rolled, flashlight hitting the hooded figure. Bells clanged violently, echoing across the square. Snow swirled, red-tinted, hiding footprints. Rowan aimed carefully, keeping his focus. The devil didn't falter. Its movements were supernatural, predatory, and precise. He realized the only weapon he had was his mind, his courage, and his discipline. The face of terror. The devil appeared closer, towering, dripping with shadows. Bells clanged violently, unnerving every sense. Rowan saw, just for a split second, the hood slide back. Its face was not human, but eyes intelligent, cruel, mocking. "You have a choice," Rowan repeated under his breath. "Do not give it fear. It does not own you. It cannot own you." The devil paused, listening. For a moment, the square was silent. Then the jingles resumed, sharper, faster, echoing like a chorus of madness. Rowan advanced, flashlight trembling but unwavering. He realized the creature's power relied entirely on fear. Deny it, and it falters. Feed it, and it dominates. The struggle intensifies. Snow whipped around them. Shadows shifted unnaturally. The devil attacked with blinding speed, disappearing and reappearing at impossible angles. Rowan ducked, rolled, and threw objects to distract it. Mirrors, bells, and firelight reflecting from windows. The creature shrieked, a sound impossible to describe, part bell, part wind, part human scream. Its claws slashed at the snow, at the air, at everything around it. Rowan realized the creature wasn't just physical, it was psychic. It was terror made flesh. "You have a choice," Rowan whispered again. "You choose your fear. You choose your courage. You survive." He lunged forward, striking a bell to redirect its attention. Shadows twisted around him. The creature screeched, and for a moment it hesitated. Turning the tide. Rowan pressed on, disciplined, focused, each step measured, each action intentional. Every flash of light, every sound, every movement was calculated to deny the creature its prey. He remembered the victims, the families, the terror-stricken children. He would not let them die. Fear would not win tonight. He had discipline. He had courage. He had choice. The Christmas devil attacked once more, its bells clanging violently, its shadow massive, twisting. Rowan rolled, hit the bell in response. The creature faltered, just slightly. Enough. He advanced, step by step, bell by bell, denying its terror, feeding its frustration. For the first time, he saw doubt in its movements. The final moment. The blood moon hung high, reflecting red in the snow. Rowan faced the hooded terror squarely. Bells clanged violently, then slowed, then stopped. Silence. A pause. The creature studied him, and then, with a final screech, it vanished into the night. The snow settled. Shadows returned to normal. Frostvale breathed again. The town survived, scarred, but alive. The Christmas devil had been driven back, for now. Rowan collapsed to his knees, exhaustion and relief mingling. He had faced fear, he had denied it, he had confronted the impossible. And though the town was safe tonight, he knew the devil would return, patient, intelligent, relentless. But one thing was clear.
He had learned its rules. He had learned courage. He had learned discipline.
The aftermath of terror. The snow settled, the blood moon vanished behind clouds. Frostvale breathed again, but the silence was heavy, thick with memory. Every house, every street, every shadow carried the imprint of the terror that had passed. Detective Rowan stood in the square, flashlight dim, shoulders slumped but eyes sharp. The Christmas devil had been driven away, for now, but its presence lingered like smoke, invisible yet suffocating. He knew the jingling bells, the shadows, the red-stained snow were not gone. They were waiting, patient, calculating, intelligent. Tonight, Frostvale survived because one man refused to surrender to fear. Rowan had faced the impossible, embraced discipline over panic, courage over terror, and choice over helplessness. That was the lesson the town would carry forward. True survival isn't about strength alone, it's about mastering fear. The streets were empty, but the whispers remained. The shadows moved just beyond the edge of vision. The bells jingled faintly in the distance. The devil had retreated, but it was never defeated. And Rowan knew, as he looked across the snow-laden town, that fear never truly sleeps. It waits, it tests, it hunts. But courage is eternal. Remember this, Frostvale. Remember this, listener. Fear is a shadow. It is patient. It is cruel. But you have the choice. You have the discipline. You have the courage. And no shadow, no jingling bell, no blood moon can take that from you. You survived the night. But the question remains, will you face the next shadow the same way? Will you rise or will you falter? The choice is yours.